Before we go forward and get to questions and everything else, an interesting episode of Raw. Between all the non-interesting stuff, there was some interesting stuff, Jim. What'd you think of Raw this week?
Well, it was actually very interesting during the brief moments that it wasn't uninteresting. And now we see that potentially the story will not end between Cody Rhodes and Brock Lesnar at Night of Champions. We'll run down the whole card a little bit later on. I don't want to jump ahead here with my predictions or what's going to be happening, but I will illustrate what did happen between Cody Rhodes and Brock Lesnar on the Cody Rhodes and Brock Lesnar program. And then they had like 2 hours and 45 minutes of filler in between the stuff with Cody and Brock. The opening shot of Raw, and this was May 22nd, 31st anniversary of the first Volunteer Slam in Knoxville, Tennessee, to crown the first Smoky Mountain champion, by the way.
Primetime Brian Lee.
There you go.
Over Paul Orndorff, I think.
But by disqualification, because I wasn't completely insane. And we brought it back. But anyway, the opening shot was Cody in his suit, entering the arena, smiling, wheeling his bag, and within 10 seconds, Brock Lesnar just gloms him and beats the fuck out of him for 1 minute, bashing him off every wall and door and equipment case. And it looked great. I'm not saying there was anything fake about it in terms of the physicality involved. Here's the thing, my God. Brock's if this was in any way legitimate, can't they figure out some way besides doing the same thing they've already done? And they are changing on this program. We're going to find out. I think they may be listening because there wasn't a lot of, and they go 2 minutes to break. They reformatted their show. There were a couple of matches, didn't have any commercial break at all. They're doing some things different. But my God, the buildings have security cameras. The guard shacks that you have to pass through have the same thing. A camera can be set up to do a backstage interview and the tape is rolling when you there's all kinds of things they can do, but there is a visual television camera 10 feet in front of Cody Rhodes, and Brock picks that time to attack him and beat him up for 1 minute straight with no yelling from anyone. He was just waving to people. No yelling. No, come here, come here. People are fighting. No, nothing. You see what I'm saying, Brian?
I do, and I had a similar thought later in the show with Cody. I'll say it now. It actually hit me during the Apollo Crews promo. I was like, Apollo Crews is in good shape, pretty good in the ring. They never use him right. And then I was just, whatever it was, it made me think of Dusty. And even Hogan. I mean, with Hogan, it was Vince doing it. With Dusty, it was Dusty, doing it. But the baby faces had friends.
Yes.
It wasn't crazy, like something bad would happen and Hulk Hogan got attacked and you see Coco Beware or someone trying to help him. He's not in that league, but he's in that locker room. And with Cody, it hit me with Apollo Crews. I was like, you know what? It would be nice if when something happened with Cody, someone like this ran out there to help. Not just help, but there was a difference. Everyone didn't just run out to help. It was someone ran out to help. Other people were running to cover the guy up, and someone put their arms up no, stay away. There was a whole thing that would happen that doesn't happen anymore.
Some level of panic amongst people from friends of the victim or just bystanders that work there and are trying to intervene in a goddamn situation. I know people go, well, it's Brock Lesnar. Oh, goddamn. You could yell, stop, my God, somebody call 911.
Man, if anything happened to Dusty, all those guys, Manny Fernandez, Magnum, whoever it was at that moment, they're crying. They don't know how to deal with their life going forward because Dusty's been hurt.
Remember
There's never any of that with Cody.
The panic when Jimmy Garvin is telling Precious, get the keys, and they're putting Ronnie and his face has been set on fire, and they're putting him in the back seat of their legitimate fucking little piece of shit fucking mid-sized car because the Garvins were careful with $1 and taking him to the hospital. Actually, they took off out of the parking lot and went around the building, but nevertheless, there was panic.
I
It
didn't
was
know
like,
that. I didn't
you
know
go back,
that.
you get skis, you go back, whatever. But anyway,
But
so
that's the thing that Cody like needs. I think it would help if it would help everyone else on the roster too if it was a little more clear cut like that, and some people will get the rub, but there's never any of like something bad happens and someone's friends run out there to help. The Garvin thing you bring up is a great example too. Jimmy Garvin, the heel, running out there to help his brother meant something. Jimmy Garvin, the heel, going through all the baby faces that were out there to help Ronnie Garvin already left an impact.
well, and then there was a subtle little thing also, if you want to examine that a little bit further before we get back to this, is that when they took Ronnie back through the people to his locker room, that was the locker room that the good guys came out of. There were two distinct entrances, one for the baby faces, one for the heels, or as the fans would say, the good guys and the bad guys. They took Ronnie, as all the other baby faces were carrying him, but Jimmy was with him. They took him to the babyface locker room where you saw everybody there was in their locker room, and they set Ronnie down on the floor. And then Jimmy, who's fully dressed already in his street clothes, freaks out in front of the camera, turns around and runs and goes through a side door and goes through this dark area, which was the place they pulled big vehicles up in the Charlotte Coliseum, and then busts into another door. And there in that locker room are all the heels, the Midnight Express and fucking Tully and and Arn and J.J. Dillon.
It's where he would be. It's his locker room.
It reinforced also the thought in everybody's mind. It is what we've heard true. Are they all in the same locker room? No, they're obviously in different ones in other sides of the building. And here's this one group of people that are all obviously aligned with each other or friendly. And there's this other group of people, and because Jimmy knew exactly where to go because that's the one he had left. He's a heel, but now he knows exactly where to go to get even with these fucking people. And it showed it to the fans without that being the reason. We're going to show you these are two separate locker rooms.
And again, to go back to the example and applying it to Cody, actually to go back to the angle, you burn Ronnie Garvin, he doesn't just lay there for minutes alone in pain. Right away,
No.
Other people are panicking. How are we going to help this guy? We've never dealt with a burnt face. How do you deal with this? Here, put a towel over his face. I mean, I don't know why that's the solution to everything, but everyone in there is doing something. Baby faces are coming out to help. There's never I don't know. There needs to be more of that, I think.
Well, then should we go? Let's skip ahead. We'll go back to the chronological viewpoint of Raw in a second. Let's skip ahead to the 9 o'clock hour, which is the next time that we get some update, I believe, in my notes, or get some advancement of this whole thing with Brock and Cody. 9 o'clock hour comes up, and Muhammad Ali is at a backstage promo where he's rambling.
Oh, this was great.
About all of his failures, and he's failed so many times, but he's still, I don't know what the fuck it
This was so great, because I want to give this guy a chance. We always see him, and he's doing the promo. He's about to have this big match with Gunther in Saudi Arabia. This is his chance to do the serious promo. So I figured they're going to give him the serious promo. And he's like, you guys have all seen me. I'm paraphrasing. You've all seen me as a joke. And I know I can do better. And all of a sudden, Brock Lesnar just walks in and treats him like a fucking joke. That was hysterical. I feel bad for the guy, but that was great.
Well, now just describe the scene for those of you lucky enough to have missed this. The camera is at the backstage interview position, and this guy, again, he's talking about everybody's seen me as a joke, but now it's my big chance. And he starts talking about how after all of his failures, he finally gets somebody to take him seriously, or a moment of redemption or whatever. And suddenly this big blurry blob comes in between the camera and him, and it's Brock that's just walked right in front of him, right in front of the shot, stops and says, "Hey, kid, get a life," and then just walks to the curtain, and that's the end of his promo. And Brock is coming out, and there was one thing also, as he comes through the curtain and the people see him, there was no music yet. And I thought, this is great because their Brock has busted an interview and is now coming out for an unscheduled interview with no music. But then the music started when he was like, he'd been out there for 5 seconds. I don't know.
Well, he waited for it. You could tell he was waiting for it to hit.
I think it was a mistake, and I wanted it to be an unplanned, impromptu, I'm taking over the show, and it'd be most believable for Brock to do that. And instead, it became, we forgot he was shitting on Muhammad Ali, and we forgot to hit the button. But anyway, Brock's in the ring at 9:00 for a promo, and he said, "What do you want to talk about?"
He didn't even beat up Ali. Like, he just insulted him and walked off. We've seen him beat up just random people and throw them on the furniture and shit. He just insulted him and walked off.
Well, he had to go. He had to talk. And like I said, he did Cody's line, "What do you want to talk about?" But his story here, and Brock is better when he's fired up and slobbering with the gig head and the fucking black eye when he was choking Cody and screaming, "I'll kill you," all that shit. But he got the point across here in that Cody's not going to be out tonight or at Night of Champions either. And I'm issuing an open challenge to anybody to fight me on Saturday. Just step out and step up, whatever the case. And here comes Dusty. I mean, Cody.
Cody, Jesus.
Well,
nice try.
I mean, here comes Cody with a sling, with an ice pack on his shoulder. He's got his arm in a sling. And there's Adam Pearce, the authority figure, said, "Please, no." And the referees are going, "No, no." And Cody will not be stopped. And he's going to the ring. And he gets in the ring. And you can see, the reason I said Dusty is because you can see John Wayne in a movie, right? And I can hear Dusty laying this out to the heel and that he would be working with, right? If I'm back in the fucking Spartanburg Memorial fucking auditorium locker room in 1986 and we're doing a TV angle. And Dusty would be saying the heel, whoever he is, right? Is it fucking Flair hit him with a baseball bat or whatever. And Flair, you're crowing. Is that I defend the title against you, Magnum? I defend the title against the Road, anybody. But then out I come. And I got the sling on, baby. And I got the sling on and the ice pack, and Tommy Young, you're hanging on my back. And Earl Hebner, you're hanging on my back. And I'm saying, "I'm coming for you, Nature Boy." And they're dragging me down the aisle. And just as soon as I get in the ring, think about it this way. John Wayne in some fucking movie. I don't know all the John Wayne movies, but Dusty would have fucking illustrated one of the 475 movies that John Wayne shot in his career in Hollywood, where he had his arm in a sling and was one arm down in a gunfight against a guy with 2 6-shooters. And John Wayne would step out there at high noon and he'd pull that sling off, baby. And he'd say, "I may not have 2 good arms, but I still got 2 of them, so give me your best shot." This is a Dusty angle. Cody gets in the ring and he takes off the sling and he takes off the ice bag. And no matter what happens, he's gonna fucking fight with one arm. And then Brock charges him and takes him down. He gets a double wrist lock and breaks his arm. And not only did he double wrist lock it, and he held it a while and then gave it the little jerk that indicated that would have been the snap of the forearm, even though, I mean, obviously they could not work Cody's forearm flopping around like a wacky waving arm inflatable tube man. And, you know, unfortunately, we've seen enough cell phone videos now to know that sometimes that happens. But then he let it go and got up and stomped Cody's forearm and left. So for purposes, and not to spoil what's going to go on or be said later in the program, but it appears that Cody's forearm, the rumors are going to start in the locker room here real soon that it was broken. And at that point I said, okay, a broken arm is Cody's out to lose at Night of Champions and make it 1-1. in which case this program is not over on Saturday. Your thoughts?
I didn't think there was any way it was going to end Saturday just because I don't think it's going to end at Saudi Arabia. It was really good. I was into it. This, I mean, you said you acted it out, the whole Dusty Rhodes comparison. This was the most Dusty-like night of Cody's run so far.
Yeah.
The entire show. And again, no one who's his friend comes out there to help him. That's one of my big complaints about any of this stuff, but really, really good. And, you know, after he got beat up in the back, you're left thinking, how the hell's he going to have this match at Saudi Arabia? Now everyone's like, I'm not a doctor, but his arm's broken.
Yeah.
So I guess, like you said, that's the out, and then you get to the third match at whatever the next pay-per-view is, and the question is, do you make it a stipulation match, or do you just do a match? What do you do?
Well, hold on before we get there.
Okay.
Because we still got to get to the end of the show, because now later on, Adam Pearce is on the phone, and Cody, the news is being reported that Cody won't let the doctors look at his mangled arm, was the quote. And he doesn't want any help, which then they go later on to his locker room. And Cody's screaming, I don't need it. This was at the end of the show. I don't need any help. And in walks Triple H. And he sits down. And they have the serious talk. And at least, again, you know that when Pierce was on the phone, obviously he was on the phone with Adam Pearce, and you know that, or obviously he's on the phone with Triple H. And you know that, honestly, Cody had to, if Triple H didn't volunteer, if it wasn't written that way, Cody would have insisted. And everybody knows I love Adam Pearce. He's a good friend of mine. Loved working with him. But since Adam is out there adjudicating the minor mishaps and things amongst the, you know, the girls and the shoosh boy and alpha academies of the world, and is, basically called upon to do all the contract signing and everything, this needs to be big. This needed a step up in terms of not just star power, but importance in the company. You know, this is now over and above the normal boundaries of regular angles that we do to give it more importance, right? So Triple H had to come in and be the one to talk to Cody and say, I need you to get medical attention. I can tell that your arm is broken and you can too. And you're afraid if the doctor looks at you, you won't be cleared to wrestle at Night of Champions. And he gives him the pitch, but then in a very professional way. But Cody ends up hitting him with, what would you do? And he says, I'm going to fight Brock Lesnar at Night of Champions. And here's the thing. Since it is the forearm, that's entirely doable. Because I know somebody's going, well, how could he have a whole match with one arm against Brock Lesnar, whatever, but you can work the match around a broken forearm. You can't work a match with a broken leg, although I saw Lawler do it twice, and in a cast. But you can't work a match with a broken leg, and you can't work a match if your upper arm was broken, but it actually has been done with legitimate broken forearms before with a cast from guys who in the territories couldn't afford to take off, or the territory couldn't afford them to. So they'll be able to get around this, but this, I believe, now will be Cody's out, obviously.
What did you think of the interplay between Cody and Triple H? This was the most emoting and acting Cody's had a chance to do. This was almost Bloodline-esque in terms of how dramatic it was. And again, what do you think of their performance here?
I think they have obviously both of them the star power, and you've got Triple H was a top guy in the previous era. Cody is now, but since everybody mostly watching these days is also smart to the behind the scenes, they know that Triple H is the heir apparent. We'll see what happens, and is high up in the food chain there. And they know also that Cody has been the rebel and helped start the opposition. So there's on-camera tension, maybe of the kind that they used to have when the top guys were really at odds with each other. but they still can work together professionally. So I think it's good to see Triple H and Cody on camera in the same place, occupying the same space, and interacting with each other. I like that.
Yeah, to me, the facial expressions were really the story. When Cody was looking down and Triple H almost with admiration is looking at him, a little smirk, gives him the pat on the knee, but the show goes off the air with, I think you could only say, a scared Cody.
Yeah, but that's the thing. Dusty would show fear also because he's a realist and he knows what lays ahead of him, but he still got to do it anyway.
You know what Dusty did better than anyone else? Just scream. Like he could just scream. You know, sometimes you didn't know what he was saying. Sometimes it was the name of the person who beat him up and bloodied him up.
Yeah.
But no one just like, Tommy! No one screams anymore.
And even with a lisp, you still got it. But anyway, so that was the Cody and Brock extrapolation of the events that happened, and then everything else was there for the most part. There was a couple of points, but to run through them briefly and comment where needed. As soon as Cody got the shit kicked out of him at the start of the show, Paul Heyman was in the ring for a live interview, denied any involvement in the attack.
There's something there. Because, I mean, again, they're still teasing stuff with him and Brock. That never goes away, even though they have issues. They still tease there's something there.
But for the record, I'd like to deny any involvement in that.
Remember, they even asked him that after Brock turned on Cody. Did you know he was going to be here? So there's still something they're teasing for the future.
Well, and they always can, because Paul and Brock are linked like, you know, a fucking guy and his conjoined twin fetus hanging out of his head, right? Anyway, they are in Hershey, Pennsylvania. If that's the same arena, and I bet it was, it's a shithole. The Hershey Park, Davey Boy Smith, when we do local promos, he would see that and he would practically spit on the floor. Oh, it's the fucking Hershey Park Arena. Fucking Hershey Park. Hershey, Pennsylvania was legitimately named after Hershey chocolate, which Hershey started there, and he built a lot of the town 100 or more years ago with his workers and his factory, because they started it where they could get the goddamn supply of milk. And so then it became a town and a city. And they've got an amusement park there that's chocolate themed, the Hershey Park. And the Hershey Park Arena was the arena at fucking Hershey Park. And I mean, the locker rooms are, if this is the same place, now it's been 25 years since I've been there or whatever, but they've got like a 5-star hotel, the Hershey Inn or something like that they put us up at. And I mean, antiques in the room is great, incredible. They've got a high dollar operation in some respects, but this building was just old and run down and whatever the fuck. So
I always loved the way it looked on TV, though. That's the building where Ric Flair got the title back from Randy Savage.
Well, yeah, and it's like a 7,000 or 8,000 seat building, and it's one of the old style arenas where all you can see is people. So it does look good on television, but uncomfortable as fuck to work. But anyway, Paul insulted the people of Hershey, and there was a nice lazy booking sign behind Paul's back. Thank whatever member of the cult brought that.
Oh, we heard from the fan who brought that.
Did we? What did he have to say?
I thought I sent that to you. They confiscated the sign.
What?
Yeah, they took the sign. They told him he's not allowed to have that one. And then I think he had another one that was an Owen Hart sign. They said he can keep that, but he wasn't allowed to hold it up. I'll see if I can find the email. We have the email.
Wait a minute. Well, then why couldn't he keep the other one if he wasn't allowed to hold that up either? He's on the honor system for one, but not the other.
Well, Martha Hart and WWE have a very contentious relationship, but they're more afraid of whatever the Raka Khan kidnapping Jim Cornette could do.
Ah, there you go. Because Disney cut ties with The Rock because of Raka Khan.
People keep sending that to us. That's not a real story, everyone.
But anyway, nevertheless, I haven't looked at the emails you've sent me because I've been trying to have time to look at my own emails. So I didn't know about this. But, well, God damn it. Well, I'll email Mr. Lazy Booking sign back and send him a free picture or something for his trouble, for them taking his sign away that he took time out of his busy schedule to make. So back to this interview where Paul talked and promised the new tag team champions would be Solo and Roman. And he's, welcome to Monday Night Raw, everybody. Why do they have to say that? Why does it's a goddamn sports broadcast. And they're already 10 minutes into the fucking show. You don't have to say it every night. It's not like, welcome to the Tonight Show starring Johnny Carson. Fuck you. But nevertheless, when he does that, well, what here's Paulie.
Why do you have to welcome people to the show?
Why do you have to welcome people? They're already there. I'm going to help bring any new ones in and just clogs that. And why does Paul welcome anybody to anywhere? Paul doesn't welcome anybody into any part of his life.
I found the email, just if you want me to go through this real quick.
Yes, I do.
You have it, and you have his information there, so you can respond accordingly. I attended Monday Night Raw last night in my hometown of Hershey, Pennsylvania. I wanted to show you guys the signs I made last night that made their way onto TV during Heyman's opening segment. The first commercial break after the segment, 2 staff members came up to me, took my poster board sign of you away. They said I could keep the Owen Hart one, but if they see me raise it, it will be taken as well. I was just showing my support for my favorite wrestler on his death anniversary.
Wow.
Just wanted to let you know I was supporting the cult in full force last night. Also in my Cornette face t-shirt. Talk about the employees being stuck on the Hershey Highway. And this is from, I don't want to give his last name, so I don't know if he wants it out there, but Nathan, we got your email, and Jim has your email too.
Well, I'm surprised they didn't make him strip naked also, or at least half naked. Hopefully he didn't have the Jim Cornette tidy whities trademark on as well, or he'd have been buck naked running around there.
Does it make you feel good at least that, like, Kevin Dunn, at some point, someone get the Cornette sign?
Yeah, just anytime something can make his day just a little more miserable. And I don't know anybody that has more miserable days than Kevin Dunn. The miserable millionaire, Kevin Dunn. He makes more money in a fucking year through their various stock scams than I or most people in the world make in a fucking lifetime, and he's still a miserable fucking buck-toothed human being.
So this Heyman promo.
Oh, yeah, well, it was done. Because he said, welcome to Monday Night Raw, and then music hit, and Owens and Zayn did their separate entrance deal where it's a bit of Kevin's music, and he gets to come out and stand there to moderate smatterings of applause, and then they play Sammy's music, and the people pop, and he comes out, and they keep that music up for the rest of the way to the ring because he's more popular, which will, if they keep doing the separate entrances, that means the long-term plan is Owens turning on Zayn. Otherwise, it's distracting for a babyface tag team especially. But anyway, they go to the ring, and Paul is gone. And they even have to reference it. Wow, did you ever see anybody get out of somewhere as quick as Paul Heyman? Because they just went from interview to interview. And now they're just starting a new promo from scratch. And they give the opposite side of the tag team title match and say that they dedicate the win that they're about to have to the true pillars of the bloodline, the Usos, because Roman dedicated it to the Wild Samoans, so they're trying to instigate. And then they mention tonight, we've got a 6-man tag against Imperium. And then Imperium's music plays. And I'm like, Jesus Christ. And here we go with another fucking, apparently, compartment to this interview, or a component, I should say, to this interview. But Gunther and his stooges just come out and circle the ring. They don't talk. And as they're going to attack 3-on-2, Riddle runs out through the middle of them and slides in the ring and evens the odds up. And everybody stands there for a minute. Well, then the heels decide they're going to walk out. But then they turn around back and rush the ring and jump in the ring. And again, the perfect way to make people want to stay to the end of the show to see this 6-man tag team main event. The babyfaces dumped Gunther's stooges in like 5 seconds, completely out of the ring. And then Owens and Zayn went to double clothesline Gunther backwards over the top rope out of the ring. But as they hit him with the double clothesline, I believe from slow motion analysis that Gunther was set to take the fucking backwards over the top, but his left leg got tangled in Sami Zayn's left leg and stopped his momentum from going over backwards, and he got hung on the rope, so Owens dumped him over like a sack of fucking laundry. So now they're advertising a 6-man tag that we got to wait another 2 hours and 40 minutes to fucking see. And the baby faces have just beaten the heels up in 15 seconds. So who gives a shit? As Larry Latham, or AKA Spot the Moondog, would have said, where's the heat?
It's very similar to what they did with the Bloodline, the Cody Brock stuff. The show began and ended with the only thing that, I shouldn't say that, but the thing that was the only thing that really mattered on the show, although there was something else that was pretty good on the show.
But wouldn't you at least, okay, and again, Gunther Stooges are just that. You got 3 main event baby faces, Owens, Zayn, and Dickhead Riddle.
Dickhead Riddle, yes.
Dickhead Riddle. Actually, his full name is Richard Head Riddle, but his friends call him Dick.
Trademark.
But you've got 1 main event heel and his 2 stooges. And Kaiser and Wilhelm, or whatever they're, Marcel and Marceau, whatever their fucking names are, they're presented as the flunkies that people just dispatch and they pull legs and interfere, but you can't take them seriously. And if they come out and don't beat anybody up, even with Gunther, then it's a fucking 6-man tag and they only got 4 men. Anyway, since we're on that, would you like to go to the 6-man? We'll just jump around.
Yeah, why not? This is kind of a jump around episode.
Jump around.
Crisscross. 1992.
We had to wait. We had to wait until 10:40 p.m. Eastern to ring the bell on the 6-man that they set up in the first segment. And then, again, you can't take the 2 seriously. I kind of tried to pay attention when Gunther was there. But it's like trying to watch a 6-man tag with 2 job guys on one side. And in this match, they had 2 breaks in it, so they went 2 minutes to the break. And I was trying to write down notes because finally at 10:46 p.m., 2 hours and 46 minutes into the program, they had crossed 30 minutes of wrestling. So it was a wrestling heavy edition. And I'm not even being a smartass about that. That's more than they usually have. And just, unexpectedly, Owens pinned one of Gunther's stooges. Imagine that. Nobody could have seen that coming. So these guys, their work isn't bad, but they've been presented as the 2 guys that stooge for Gunther. And they don't beat anyone. They're not physically intimidating. They don't do any real damage when they do interfere. So you can't do 6-mans with these guys. Nobody cares. It doesn't work. Want me to move on through the rest of it? Because there wasn't much.
As I said before, there was something I really did like.
Was it Ricochet and Bronson Reed?
No, that was all right, but that wasn't what I really liked.
Well, I didn't like that either. Because, again, this was another match. They went 1 minute to the break, and then they came back, and they gave him about 4 minutes, but Ricochet can do all the gymnastics, but his punches are shameful. And it was a blah match, and then Reed hit the splash off the top, looks great. Beat Ricochet, wonderful. You like the sit down with Seth Franklin Rollins talking about AJ for the world title number 3 match. That's what.
There are elements of it I really like, and then I find them annoying. It goes back and forth. It was all right for what it was. Obviously, they're presenting him and building him up a certain way for a certain reason, but it was all right.
Well, he wants the new, ladies and gentlemen, just so you know his motivation for winning the new number 3 World Heavyweight title belt. He wants the new World Heavyweight Championship to change the industry because it's given him a life he could never have dreamed of, and he wants to create something that will live forever. Does that make any fucking sense?
None whatsoever.
And I know they're telling him to say it, but can't they tell him to say something that makes sense? The reason why you have a World Heavyweight Championship is so that it signifies that someone is the singular, titular best in that field, profession, or endeavor. And when you have 2 of them, yes, for short-term points, it can create a dispute that can be settled in the ring to the advantage of everybody's business. But there still needs to be one. We've established that. But now that there's going to be 3, because Roman has 2, this is going to be the other one. It's already got prestige problems. And everybody should be talking about it like this is a chance to be on the same level, to be recognized in a parallel fashion to Roman Reigns, and potentially down the line force a reconciliation of this whole matter with a title unification match where I get my opportunity. And then I will be the best in the world. And instead they're talking about, oh, we're going to put it on this guy that's a good worker so he can defend it a bunch and really make everybody proud. What?
I'm going to be a different kind of champion than the other one. I'm going to make it turn the channel.
All righty then. Also, we saw Candy LaRue against Zoe Starks.
No, we didn't.
Candy and her husband have faces that range in emotion from blank to frozen. Okay, then also Otis and Shoosh Boy wrestled the Vikings. They gave them 5 minutes with no break. The 2 bottom teams in the whole fucking company get a match that nobody wants to see. They didn't interrupt that one with a break. And, well, the only other thing I can think of, no, there's a couple other things. Possibly this is what you liked. Shaky Nakamura against Finn Balor.
I mean, it was all right, but that wasn't the thing I really liked on the show, no.
Okay, well, just for those keeping count, Shaky beat up Priest, who was at ringside, and then Finn got him from behind and hit the double stomp, 1, 2, 3, in about, actually, I think that was the longest. That was about a 7-minute, broken up with only 1 break. Well, then, I know what you liked. You liked the match between Raquel Rodriguez Gonzalez de Molina Jr. and Cruella DeVille.
I mean, it was all right. Sonya looked like a badass in there, but no, I mean, that wasn't.
She's got a great look, but she apparently they just want to beat her in seconds. But at this point, did you hear the crowd?
No. What did they say?
They didn't say anything. I swear to God, they had to get a really wide shot so you could tell there were ushers wandering the aisles holding mirrors in front of the fans' mouths to see if they were still breathing. It was bad. It was noticeable. And it was under 2 minutes, and Raquel chokeslammed Cruella and beat her, and then the heels got 15 seconds of heat, and then Shotzi made the save and did a dive to the floor where she landed ass first on Cruella's face. So I'm sure that was comfortable. Okay, well, then I know what you liked the contract signing with Becky Lynch and Trish Stratus. That's what you liked.
I did. This was my favorite thing on the show.
Why?
This was great. This was fantastic.
Okay, then you review it first. Maybe we were watching different programs.
A table was placed in the middle of the ring in Hershey, Pennsylvania on Monday Night Raw, the 22nd of May, 2023, for a contract signing, what would turn out to be the very first contract signing that Trish Stratus has ever had on WWE TV. Trish Stratus' opponent, the man, the highly decorated former champion Becky Lynch, who has a score to settle with Trish Stratus and her bosom, which were on full display here in Hershey, Pennsylvania for Monday Night Raw and the contract signing. I thought Trish delivered a pretty, again, she has her own style of talking and delivering lines. And if you can get past that, I mean, no, that doesn't even, I'm not even trying to say that like to poke anything at it. But if you get past that and listen to what she's saying and the way she's saying it, I thought it was really good. And Becky's sitting there and taking it. And when Becky hit her at the end with woof, woof, what'd she say? I'm going to do something to you, bitch. Woof, woof. And Trish flipped the table. That was great. I thought that was great. They got me into this.
She had referenced when they made Trish bark like a dog. She said, "Oh, you gonna bark like a dog? Woof, woof."
I thought this was good. I thought this was actually really good. I thought this is the best I've seen from Becky Lynch in a while. She was dressed a little more like big-time Bex than the man, even though they called her the man. But I thought she was really good. I thought this was really good. Now, if it's two people that hate each other are going to have a match, probably should have some people in there just in case violence broke out. Instead, violence broke out in terms of Trish flipping his table, and then she just walked out of the ring.
Well, she's an anti-tableite, is what she is. It's violence specifically directed toward one group of furniture.
I thought Trish as just a bitchy former star hating the current star was great here.
Well, see that I started listening, but to me, I guess, and maybe that was the era that this is how she learned, because I wasn't really watching then. I think even I was still in developmental and OVW, and I wasn't watching their main programs. But it's Trish. She's doing WWF scripted mean girl type of stuff in like a Stepford wife kind of. Is that what you were talking about with the delivery she has? Or just the overall that they always have the women make the catty comments to each other.
Well, she does it in a very conversational way. Like,
it's very conversational.
Becky raises her voice and everything. And by the way, it's the first time I thought it in a while, but Becky, if you ever see the movie The Wanderers, she reminds me of Pee-wee so much in that movie. But Becky will raise her voice, other people will raise their voice, or, Rhea gets the deep voice. But Trish is just like, hey, you're jealous of me. It's very, if you can get past that, it's good.
Well,
it was good here, I should say.
I got to the point where she kind of took credit for women's wrestling coming to the forefront. I said, it's you we got to blame. And I put it on fucking speed search. And it was, I know Becky answered. I didn't hear some of it because I couldn't hear it on the speed search, but I heard the woof woof part at the end, and Trish turned the table over and she left in a huff, and this was a long segment even on fast forward.
You know what? The line at the end was so good, and the timing of the table flip was perfect. Because I watched it a couple times. The timing of the way she flipped the table was perfect.
Basically, you just wanted to watch or hear Becky Lynch bark like a dog a couple of times.
That's not in any way what I wanted.
Well, that's what you got.
It just so happens to be part of this fantastic segment. Yes.
You just got to accept these things as they come with the territory, right?
I guess so. I don't know if you're transitioning to something or setting me up. I don't know where you're going.
No, I'm just saying
right
you're liking hearing Becky Lynch bark like a dog.
That's not what I said. I specifically said that was not specifically what I said.
But you said that while it wasn't the only thing, you would be more than happy to take it as part of the package.
No, that's not what I said. I said it was part of the package.
It's just a serendipitous type of occasion.
Well, I don't think serendipity plays a part in any of this. It was part of the segment that I liked. It just so happened that she, in recreating a memorable Trish Stratus moment, barked like a dog.
And you listened to it.
And it's like
time.
It's not even that she hit her with woof woof. It was after bitch. So she's calling her a female dog, and then she goes, woof, woof. That was so good, because you know what? Again, Trish delivered this promo of just being a bitch, and you want to see Becky do something, because she's just sitting there, stone-faced, taking it. Every now and then you get a smirk. And when firing back at her, she wasn't getting much of a reaction. When she hit her with the bark like a dog, when she hit her with the, reminding her the original angle, Trish like perked up. And when she hit it with the line, boom, there it is. There's the kryptonite.
There's the kryptonite.
There's the kryptonite. You bark like a dog.
When everybody knows she'd rather be purring like a pussy. But anyway.
And by the way, and it's a choice too, because you can go woof woof, or you can go bow wow, or you can go rough rough. She went with woof woof.
That's true. You can go bow wow. You can go rough rough. You can go woof woof. But you'd rather hear it from Becky Lynch, wouldn't you?
Copying Trish Stratus, yes. In this segment.
Yeah. Purely in a professional basis.
On a professional reviewing point of view.
Yes.
Of course.
Would she have to be on her knees like a dog? On her hands and knees? On all fours?
Well, now you're just being a chauvinist pig, and no one appreciates that.
Well, no, that's imitating a dog. A dog isn't just walking around on its hind legs all day, carrying a briefcase. A dog's down on all fours. If you're going to bark like a dog, you got to walk like a dog, right?
I'm starting to think this is your fantasy more than anything else the more you keep talking.
Well, the thing that I thought you'd fantasize about was the only other thing on the program, Dominic Mysterio against Apollo Crews.
Oh, that's right. There was more on this program.
I thought that's what you were going to like, because I couldn't believe that you would be so perverted and subverted that you would be watching these girls barking like animals.
That's
but nevertheless,
not it. That was a good segment.
Well, Dominic beat Apollo Crews with a splash off the top in about 5 minutes with no break in it whatsoever. So maybe they tried 2 matches. They make them shorter, but they don't put a break in the middle of them. So maybe they're listening, maybe they're trying.
Apollo Crews just got drafted to Raw. He was in NXT again. They bring him up. He loses quickly and clean to Dominic.
I know every time that they put him in a new place, the first thing they do to make sure he doesn't get over is beat him like a drum.
Well, that was Raw, and after a review like this, I'm hungry. After talking about this show, after watching the show, during the show I was hungry. I'm hungry now, and there's a way that all the listeners could take care of their hunger this summer, Jim. Especially with Father's Day coming up.
Well, you know, the big thing is, though, now, Brian, you don't know what to do and who to trust about what to eat, as I've illustrated earlier in the program. Because I was trying to stay away from the red meat, but then they say, oh no, you got to stay away from that seafood. And then I try to eat the seafood, or don't eat the seafood, and they got to say, oh, you got to stay away from that red meat. And what about the baked goods? You know what? The thing is, they don't really know. So let's use our common sense, folks. If you want to get your dad something for Father's Day, or if you want to get your husband something for Father's Day, or your grandfather, the man in your life, no matter what the relation, something for Father's Day or any day, let's not worry about all these doctors telling people don't eat this and that. Let's just use our common sense. What are you going to get Dad for Father's Day? You might get Dad a case of beer or a bottle of booze. Well, that's really unhealthy. What if he's got alcoholic tendencies? What if he gets behind the wheel of the lawnmower, or even the family station wagon, and runs off a ravine somewhere? Well, then you've just killed Pop. So don't get him booze. That's bad for his blood pressure and his health and everything else. You say maybe you might want to get him something to do gardening. Get him a wood chipper. Well, that might be good for the old man to get out there and chip some wood. But then what about if mom gets mad at him? Then you're going to be going around the house singing, oh, Dad, poor Dad, Mama's thrown you in the wood chipper, and I'm feeling so sad.
What?
Yeah, have you ever heard that old country song?
About the wood chopper? No.
Over the wood chipper. You know what I said.
I don't know the song. No, is it a real song?
Oh, Dad, poor Dad, Mama's thrown you in the wood chipper, and I'm feeling so sad, in the key of G. But nevertheless, now what do you get? You might get Dad a fishing pole. But now think about the old man. He's not as spry as he used to be. He might have bad balance. He might have stiff hip, might have gout like me. He goes out in a boat to go fishing, stands up, a wave comes along, boop, he's down in the drink. Nobody knows how to swim. You've just drowned Dad. So don't do these things. Don't kill your father or the man in your life that means something to you. Unless, of course, you're the recipient in the will and it's valuable. But nevertheless, if you want to get your father something that he's really going to enjoy for Father's Day or any day, Omaha Steaks. And boy, I'll tell you what, right now, if you go to omahasteaks.com, they have got the packages that you will most want for Father's Day that can include fork tender bacon wrapped filet mignons or other gourmet grillables like the air chilled boneless chicken breast. They've got the burgers, the jumbo franks. Those things are so plump. My God, they ought to be John Holmes Memorial Frankfurters. And don't forget to save room for dessert because most of these packages come with the delicious caramel apple tartlets. And they've got sides and so much more. And they've got hand-selected packages that are guaranteed to make Dad's Day a special day because we all know that dads want steak. And I'll tell you again, you got those, you throw them on the grill, you put them in the broiler. Let's say Father's Day, there comes a giant monsoon. It's pouring rain outside. You don't need to grill these things. As a matter of fact, not only do the Omaha Steaks come flash frozen, vacuum sealed, ready for Dad whenever he's hungry, with an unconditional 100% money back guarantee, but you can cook them on anything. If it's raining outside, don't worry about the grill. Put them on the stove. You can fry them. Well, you doesn't gotta fry them. You could fry them, or you could broil them, or you could bake them, or you could flash fry them, or you could pan broil them, or you could air fry them, but you doesn't gotta just broil them because Omaha Steaks, the ultimate in tenderness, juiciness, and flavor, is made for Father's Day. And fuck the gout. So what you need to do is head over to omahasteaks.com right now and use the promo code JCE at checkout. You're going to get $30 off your qualifying order. So whichever package that you would like to grip tightly and fling at your father for Father's Day, omahasteaks.com, use the promo code JCE. You're going to get $30 off your qualifying order for Father's Day, or as I said, any day. Why just relegate dear old Dad to one particular day when you can make it Father's Day every day of the week and eat lots of red meat?
With Omaha Steaks.com.
Promo code JCE.